I am not okay. This is a quote said by probably every man ever, but never out loud. Let's go ahead and fix that. What is up, Sober Psychology Warriors? It's Michael, your psychologist in training, your unfiltered guide through the chaos of the human mind, and the guy where over 800 of you trust to call it like it is for some reason. Welcome to probably the only podcast that'll make you laugh, cry, and actually do something about your headspace. No TED Talk fluff, no Instagram therapy memes, just truth, dark humor, and the kind of reality check that your dad never gave you. If that hit home, I apologize. I realize that was insensitive. Anyways, today we're going hard on men's mental health. It's that thing that we're told to man up about while the world watches us drown in silence. We're talking suicide rates, toxic masculinity, pop culture lines, and because I imagine some of you are clutching your Bibles, what God actually says about men breaking. And spoiler alert, it's not rub some dirt on it. If you're a man, know a man, or love a man, this episode is your intervention. Hit subscribe, bingo, over here. Drop a like and share this with a guy who says, I'm fine but hasn't slept in 3 days. Let's go ahead and bleed out this truth. Welcome to the show where we break down the mental health stigma, navigate sobriety with humor, and prove that it's okay to laugh while you heal. Let's get real, let's get honest, and maybe a little weird. Growth is messy, but you don't have to do it alone. This is Sober Psychology. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Another week. This is going to be episode 53. We took a little 2-week break. We powered through 52 episodes. Thank you all for being along on that journey. And I needed a mental reset. You know, I needed to take a break. I was getting, honestly, I was getting creatively burnt out. I was getting burnt out just in general, being a new dad and all the school stuff and trying to balance life, and then doing this, which is a passion project for me. I needed a breather, and it took me 52 episodes to realize it's okay for me to pause for a second. So I thought it'd be appropriate to jump right back in after our 2-week break on men's mental health. I believe this is something that is plaguing at least our culture in general today, but it has been a prevalent issue throughout human history. It's a very difficult spot to be in because, as we're going to talk about, men are taught to just toughen up, deal with it, suck it up. But I think there's an awakening of men who are starting to understand that when you're admitting what you're struggling with, it doesn't make you weak. It takes a lot of strength to be weak. And I can say that especially as a man, it takes a lot of strength to allow yourself that vulnerability of saying, okay, I need some help. I can't do it all on my own. I'm struggling, whatever it may be. I've been hesitant about that. I grew up, I'm from the South. I grew up in a culture where it's pick yourself up by your bootstraps. I have, my grandparents' generation is the ones that never talk about what they're struggling with. You just deal with it and power through. My parents' generation, they're the ones who just ignore it and try and pretend like they can just keep adding things to their lives to move on. But for this new generation, I'm a millennial born in '89 or whatnot. I think there's this awakening. You see statistics like millennial men are spending 3 times the amount with their children than their parents did. That's awesome. You see so many especially men, I'm talking about categories of men here, but there's such a trending of men who are willing to start opening up, and whether it be going to therapy, talking to others, finding support groups, whatever it is, I think that's really cool. I think it's fascinating, and I'm grateful for that. But also there is still that underlying issue of men's mental health. You could go and look at a bunch of my videos, go to my TikTok, go to anywhere where I post content. There is always some egotistical powerhouse alpha male mentality that is coming in there and saying that I'm weak or that I'm a wuss or whatever for talking about any of these issues. And I've been on the other side of that where I agreed. I used to do the same thing, just pretend like it's not a big deal, move on. And then my life fell apart. So anyways, all that to say, as is typically the case with this podcast, the idea is to open up the conversation, to be able to destigmatize as best we can. And men, fellas, We got to start talking about it. I don't care what your background is. I don't care how tough you think you are. You are not tougher than the problems plaguing your mind if you're going to keep them in this negative feedback loop, suppress them, act like they're going to go away. It's like garbage. You're going to keep shoving it down. You're going to keep putting the lid over the can, and it's going to eventually stink so badly that it will affect everybody in the area. So we're going to talk about it. I'm going to break it down for you from pop culture side of it. We're going to talk a little bit about pop psychology. We're going to talk about the real psychological implements of it. We're going to talk about the biblical truth behind men breaking and falling apart. And then, as per usual, we are going to talk about some helpful tips to get you on the right track, at least to start working through it, okay? But let's not forget our intro. I want to say hello to everybody. Hey, how are you? Get in closer. I love you. I missed you. Been 2 weeks. How you doing? Hey, what about you? And way up there, hello? All right. So now that we've done that, as always, it helps me a ton if you can like the video, if you can subscribe to the channel, if you can comment, if you can share, anything like that. YouTube warriors, y'all know what to do. If you're on Spotify, following along with the channel will be very helpful. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. This is going to be section 1. This is talking about the state of war. Men are dying and no one's talking. Okay, so we're going to start with the stats that should make you rage. These are statistics that if it doesn't somehow or another stir you, you might have a deeper problem. Okay, men die by suicide 4 times more than women. That's according to the CDC. 75% of all suicides, that's men. That's according to the WHO. 1 in 5 men will experience a mental health crisis before the age of 30. That's according to the National Institute of Mental Health. These are real statistics, and it sucks. But you walk into any workplace, any gym, or church men's group and ask, how you holding up? And the answer is almost always, I'm good, bro. How are you? It's ridiculous. The translation to that is, I want to die, but I'll smile so you don't think that I'm weak. Pop culture, you look at movies like Fight Club, where Tyler Durden says, we're a generation of men raised by women.
I'm a 30-year-old boy.
We're a generation of men raised by women. I'm wondering if another woman is really the answer we need.
And I'm wondering if another woman is really the answer we need. The translation of that is men are lost, angry, and we don't know how to feel. Then you look at the Joaquin Phoenix movie, The Joker. Arthur Fleck, he laughs through trauma because no one sees his pain. Society says that he's just crazy. And granted, he ended up getting that way, but then you look at the big macho men like Andrew Tate, where he says that depression isn't real, just go to the gym. The dark humor behind all that, like, congrats, bro. You cured clinical depression with push-ups and a Lambo. You freaking... Anyways, we're not going to go there. The hard truth of all of this is we've progressed from men don't cry to men can cry, but only in the shower so no one hears. That's not progress. That's emotional incarceration, right? The difficulty is the trap that we feel like we're set in. And you can even look up statistics that are terrifying where it talks about the majority of women find their significant other, being a male, they find them less attractive. They are less inclined to put them in a stature of being a leader if they are vulnerable. And that's a sick issue, because just like we've talked about feminism, how I believe it destroys female culture and what God intended a woman to actually be. I also think that this stigma of men don't need to talk about their mental health issues has leaked over into the cultural side for the women. And that's difficult, right? Women almost expect this robotic male. Now, if you go talk to a healthy woman, they won't tell you that. That's not true. They want their man to be vulnerable. They want him to be in touch with his emotions. That's not saying that you're crying over every single thing. That's not saying that you're whining about every little boo-boo that you get. That's saying that you are in touch enough with your emotions. It's that emotional regulation aspect that we've talked about, which I'll go ahead and post up here. But anyways, the difficulty is that men are constantly feeling trapped. If you're vulnerable at work, chances are you're going to lose your job or get demoted, or they're going to tell you to take some time off, and then it makes you feel weak. All of that. You look at culture, it's just a difficult spot to be in, okay? So moving on to section 2, this is going to be the psychological battlefield. This is why men are wired to suffer in silence, okay? So we're going to go deep into the male brain here, but look at Pop Psychology 101. I'm going to absolutely, but I had this name memorized, but it's alexithymia, I think. Alexithymia. Anyways, that's the inability to identify and express your emotions. Alexithymia. There's a 2021 study in psychological medicine that found that 60% of men score high on alexithymia scales. 60% of them, okay, fellas? That's over half. We're struggling. But we literally don't have words for how we feel or for what we feel. So we say, I'm fine when we're screaming inside, okay? And then you look at pop psychology talking about toxic masculinity. This is not the buzzword, by the way. This is the real psychological version of this. Robert Brannon, in 1976, he had this masculinity script that he wrote, and he set 4 rules. He said, no sissy stuff, be a big wheel, be a sturdy oak, and give 'em hell. I understand where he's going with that, because at the end of the day, us men, that's kind of what our persona gathers, right? Like, we should be the sturdy oak. We should be the ones who are going out into battle. We should be the front. Someone breaks into your home, it shouldn't be your wife waiting at the front door for that intruder. It should be you, right? But the translation is that feelings equal weakness, and weakness equals death. And that's the tough part about it, right? These are 4 rules that are killing men, because we've misconstrued them. Pop psychology, pop culture took them and made it feel like we're supposed to be statues, and that's not it. We're not supposed to be robots, fellas. That is a psychological study that is exposed. Okay, bingo. The dark humor behind it is like, imagine your brain as a prison, okay? The warden is saying no emotions allowed. You, being the inmate, you're like, but I'm hurting, man, I'm sad. And then the warden says, okay, solitary confinement, here's a beer and a gun. Good luck, buddy. It's just not good, okay? Then you look at some real studies, not just pop psychology, but real studies. There's a Harvard Grant study, and I believe they started this in 1938. It may have ended last year or this year. Anyways, it's the longest study on human happiness. So the findings that they have in that is that warm relationships predict life satisfaction more than money, more than fame, or more than IQ. Men who suppressed emotions, they have shorter lives, they have more disease, and they have earlier graves. That is the longest study, most comprehensive study that exists out there for the human happiness element. Okay, there are the stats for you. But society is going to say, you want to talk? That's for women and therapy bros. So we just die early. Do we have any progress? We now have beards and therapy apps. But we're still not talking, Whatever. Section 3, this is going to be the biblical man. This is, David cried, Jesus wept, Peter denied, and God used them anyways. All right? So let's go ahead and bring in scripture, because if you think that the Bible wants emotionless robots, you've been reading the wrong book, I promise you. David, who's the warrior king, if you read about David and conquering Goliath and the fact that he was the warrior king, also go read Psalms. It's pretty much David whining. So anyways, in Psalms, 6:3, he says, my soul is in deep anguish. How long, Lord? He's hurting so much. He's like, how long do I have to go through this? This dude killed giants. And then he wrote poetry about panic attacks. And then you look at Jesus, who is the ultimate man. He is the pinnacle, the example for what men should be. And in Matthew 26:38, he says that my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. God in the flesh said, I cannot do this alone, and then asked his boys to pray with him. So you want to tell me that community is not important? You want to tell me that having an accountability partner is not important? Fellas, come on, read your Bible. Then look at Peter. He denied Christ 3 times, wept bitterly, and then became the rock of the church. God didn't say, man up, Peter. He said, feed my sheep. That's John 2:1. All right. The hard truth is that the Bible never says men don't feel. It says cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Matthew 5:4. All right. But church culture, it's so sad. It gets to that point where it tells you just pray it away or just have more faith, or real men don't need counseling. It's these stupid platitudes that don't offer any genuine biblical help. All right. If David went to your men's group at church and he said that I'm depressed, there's always going to be some Chad in the background that's like, well, have you tried reading Psalms? Oh, wait. Shut up, Chad. Nobody asked you, Chad. All right. Section 4, the global lens of all of this. This is how the world sees broken men. All right. So we're going to zoom out just for a second. And I'm gonna take this. I tried to do a lot of research on different cultures because obviously I have a narrow-minded view just with the American culture. So I wanted to kind of zoom out and see how globally this was affecting all men. But in Japan, I think it's called karoshi or karoshi. It's death by overwork. There are listen to me say this. There are over 2,000 men who die yearly from 80-hour work weeks. Over 2,000 men in Japan. Their society is all about honor and silence. Work, 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 work. Work is honor. That's it. Go, 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 go. And then these men, over 2,000, like just being overworked. You can go and look at this online. There are pictures of these men in Japan that are just like crashed out, like they're just passed out in the middle, like wearing a suit, passed out in the middle of public, like because they're just are. I mean, it's so sad. But then you go and look at our brothering nation, I guess, UK. The campaign, I think it's called the Campaign Against Living Miserably, which is the CALM, if you're looking for an acronym there. But the number one killer of men under 45 in the UK, suicide. That's terrible. That's terrible. And then you go look at Africa, where men are seen as the providers. But mental health, they see that as white people problems. And then you look at the US. The US of A, we've got the manosphere that says that therapy makes you a beta male, or you just go out there and work, rub some dirt on it and deal with it. Hey, freaking idiot. You're putting holes through your goddamn drywall. Apologies. I get a little worked up on this, as you can tell. But pop culture in the global edition, there was that recent incident where one of the K-pop idols collapsed on stage from pressure, but had to just get up and smile and act like everything's okay. Then you look at, I did a research on some Bollywood for some reason. I don't know. I'm just trying to get cultured here, folks. But Bollywood heroes, they cry 0 tears, but they punch 47 goons, and then anime, every stoic male in anime stories, the lead male has a tragic backstory that he never processed. And that's tough too. So it's in pop culture. It's rooted. People have known about this for years. We're just too afraid to talk about it. The hard truth is that the entire world agrees. Men suffer, men shut up, and then men eventually die. When do we stop this cycle, fellas? Moving on, section 5. This is the way out. These are going to be the tools that I'm talking to you about. These are going to be the ways that I tried to put together that have helped me tremendously, but then also are backed by psychology, backed by the Bible. These are going to help you out, okay? This is a combination of psychology and faith, all right? So enough doom. Here's the battle plan. We need the battle plan. Let's go. Psychological tools. Number 1, name it to tame it. Dr. Dan Siegel talked about labeling emotions. It helps reduce the amygdala activation. And we've talked about this before, but get to a point where you say, I'm angry, instead of punching a wall. Kyle, dropping 3 white monsters and before you just go home and rage, like just name it. It's okay just to say, I'm real pissed right now. I'm hurting. I'm scared. I'm lonely. Whatever it is, name it. Because now what you've done is taken that alarm system amygdala where all the emotions are just going on full blast and going crazy. You're starting to work it into that prefrontal cortex where it's like, okay, let's think about this. Why am I angry? This is where you're naturally going to go. I'm pissed off. Why am I pissed? Why am I pissed? What do I do with it? How do I get out of this? What are some ways that have helped me before? Like now you're thinking through it instead of putting holes in the drywall. All right. Then you've got number 2, which is the 3-minute rule. Journal for 3 minutes daily. That's it. 3 minutes daily. And I've talked to you about this before with our journaling episode, which I'll put right here, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to have the perfect setup. You can just use the notes on your phone if that's what you need. You can even, if you're good with retaining information or thoughts, whatever, you can get to this mental process. This is kind of a meditative process. You just breathe, think through it, you pray through it, like, all right, help me figure out what's going on here. What is banging me up? What is bothering me? But journal for 3 minutes. There was a 2020 study in the Journal of Positive Psychology that found that journaling for 3 minutes a day cuts rumination, which is that negative rumination, by 40%. It's very big. Just get in there. You can even do the gratitude list that we've talked about. The top 3 things that you're grateful for. Spend 1 minute on each thing. Okay, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for financial stability. I'm grateful for this interaction. Whatever it is, right then and there. Don't overthink it. Don't have a filter to it. Just go. And then number 3, this is going to be brotherhood, not bottling. All right. This is going to be the community aspect that we're talking about, right? Like Jesus gave us that example where he's so overwhelmed and so stressed. And it's like, I need to go pray with my brothers. That's strong. That's strong. You know how difficult that is, like nowadays for men to do? Like, hey, brother, I need a shoulder to cry on. I just need you to sit there and just sit for a second. I'm struggling. Okay. All right. You could join a men's group. There's a 2022 VA study, I believe, that was showing that veterans in peer support are 50% less likely to relapse into depression. Okay. And they've seen some stuff. These are like combat veterans. These are some veterans that have gone through some stuff. And if it works for them, it's going to work for you. Okay. You just have to believe and put yourself into that process instead of being skeptical going into it and saying it's not going to work. It will work. Community is what we are built for. We're built to be communal creatures. From the very beginning, we've been tribal. We're not made to be alone. If we were made to be alone, God wouldn't have given Adam Eve. You know, you start looking at the tribal, the cultures, the languages, everything that has developed. We're tribal human beings. We're tribal creatures. You want to look at some biblical tools as well? I got 3 for you loaded in the hopper. Lament. Number 1 is lament. 60% of Psalms are complaints. God can handle your rage, I promise you. Number 2, confess to one another. Excuse me, I'm dying here. Confess to one another. James 5:16. Read that. Find one safe guy. Text him, I'm not okay. Find your brother. You don't need 20 people. Look at my eyes, by the way. Let's zoom in on that. We're just going to distract from this for a minute. I'm choking, and we're not going to edit this out. This is an honest podcast. So there you go. Confess to one another. James 5:16. Find your one person, your one guy. You don't need 20 friends. You can find it. You can find what you need in that one good friend. Okay. Text him, I'm not okay. I just had this conversation with one of my guys the other day. I don't have 20 dudes that I'm just going to be able to call up and be like, dude, I need to just lay some stuff on you. No, I've got like 2 or 3 that I trust because we've been forged through those moments, and he trusts me and I trust him. And it's just this beautiful relationship of like, that's what dudes are. Or am I going to call him every day and cry about something? No, it's not how we are. And if I was doing that, he'd probably call me out for it and be like, dude, you got to get on track here. But when I'm banged up about something, when I'm struggling with something, I'll call him, I'll talk to him. Same thing with him. We know that that's a safe place. We hold each other at a very high level of accountability. We both are believers in God. Like, it's just this cool. That's what you need. Just one. Okay. And text him, I'm not okay. And I'm going to shoot y'all straight real quick. If you have someone who you consider a brother and you text them, I'm not okay, and they respond with like humor, or they completely disregard or diminish what you're going through, or they don't even respond at all, or they give you excuses as to why they're not going to spend time talking to you, that's not who you need in your life. You need to go find somebody else, okay? And number 3 for the biblical tools, Sabbath. Rest is not weakness. Get so close. Rest is not weakness, fellas. It's not. All right. God rested. So should you. Allow yourself that rest. Okay. Dark humor, final boss, and all of this. Therapy isn't weak. Avoiding it is how you end up on a true crime podcast. That's just facts. All right. Section 6, we've done this before in a couple of episodes, and I wanted to kind of bring it back up, but this is just going to be the rapid fire Q&A. These are some questions that I've received through DMs, and these are some questions I've received through comments, and I've addressed them, but I want to kind of readdress them here so everybody can be privy to that conversation. But question number 1, Michael, what if my wife thinks I'm weak for going to therapy? Well, first off, I would question your wife's motives and intentions. I would challenge her in a loving way of being, ask her, why do you think that's weak? But you could also tell her, I'd rather be weak and alive than strong and in a coffin. All right. Studies show this left and right, but couples who do therapy together stay together 70% longer. That's a Gottman I believe that's a Gottman study from 2023. But if you have a significant other that thinks that you're weak for being able to seek mental health, that's a problem. And that's not on you, okay? Question number 2, I'm a Christian man. Can I take meds? Y'all know I hate this question. That's why I put it on there. But David used harp music for anxiety. Nowadays, it's like as soon as you feel stressed, people are going to give you Zoloft or some garbage like that, okay? I think medicine is the absolute last resource, and that is after you've gone through working on mindfulness therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, working with, communicating with someone, giving it your all, you're not seeing results, there's a chemical imbalance, maybe you could use medicine, okay? I believe that God can work through anything and everything, so I'm not one to sit here and tell you that medicine is just the worst thing in the world, but we've talked about this before. I think that there are a lot of ways that you can work on yourself before you start putting chemicals into your system, okay? Bingo. Question number 3, I don't have guy friends, so what now? Great question. That is something that's very difficult in today's world. I, again, just talked with my homie about this the other day. It's tough to find authentic men. It's tough to find men who aren't putting on a brave face. It starts with one text, though. One phone call, one message, whatever. Like, yo, you want some coffee? I'm struggling. 9 out of 10 men are waiting for someone else to go first, okay? If that person is not going to be able to meet you at your level, not going to meet you where you are when you're struggling, move on. It's okay. There are guys out there who will help. All right. As I've said before, I can't just befriend everybody who comments and messages and emails and reaches out, but I can be someone who can be there for you. I'll let you guys know in this past 2 weeks, I've been working on planning. So we're going to have a Discord set up soon to be able to build a community. That's a place where we could all go and talk. We'll have like a private room where, you know, it could just be us, or you can pull someone over there and your conversations are private with one another, whatever. We're going to figure it out, but we're slowly but surely getting there. But it takes that one text. Hey, I just need somebody to talk to. Are you free later on today? Whatever. Just do it, because they're waiting on you to reach out. All right. The conclusion to all of this, the new masculinity, the strong enough to feel generation. Here's the final truth bomb. And listen to me carefully when I say this to you. The strongest man isn't the one who never breaks. It's the one who breaks and then lets God rebuild him. The strongest man isn't the one who never breaks. It's the one who breaks and lets God rebuild him. It takes so much strength to be weak. And it takes even more strength to have faith in believing that God is going to restore you, okay? So do not try and be the guy that never breaks. It's okay to break, but how are you getting rebuilt? Where's your foundation? You are not your stoicism. You are not your paycheck. You are not your body count or your bench press. You are a son of God, allowed to weep, allowed to rage, and allowed to heal. Whew. Action steps this week. Number 1, text one guy. I'm not okay. Can we talk? Number 2, journal 3 minutes. No filter, no BS. Go straight to it and do it. Number 3, book the therapist. I can help you out with leading you to the right therapist. You can go to betterhelp.com. You can go to all these. Book the therapist. And even if it's not therapy, there are a lot of different ways. Enneagram coaches, life coaches. There are people that you could talk to. Go to the church. Find people who are willing to talk to you. People who are trained in being able to help you navigate. Number 4, pray. Pray Psalms 42 out loud. Why, my soul, are you downcast? Why? It's okay. Go read Psalms. David, the warrior king, whined that entire time. God can handle it. He can hold it and help you figure it out. As always, folks, subscribe, share this with every man that you love. Comment down below, I'm not okay, and just watch what happens. Watch what happens. All right? We're here for you, fellas. I'm Michael. Stay sober. Stay human. Stay alive. Keep your head up. Keep your heart open. And go help somebody. Fellas, I love y'all. Take it easy.